Welcome everyone to episode 283 of Just Joshing. I'm your host Joshua Penteloresco. I write stuff and podcasts too. Today, my guest is Adria Laycraft. First though, before I get into her, I want to apologize for the lateness of this week's episode. I've been exhausted. I knew I wasn't going to have an episode Monday. I said so last week simply because I knew that When Words Collide would take it out of me, and it sure did. Going to work that same day also definitely did add to the cause. Tuesday, I was still I'm getting older, starting to feel this stuff a little bit more than I used to when I was younger. But I definitely was tired, definitely was a little exhausted, and I had to getting back into the grind on top of doing everything else has been cool. So, but now we're back to Adria. So this is kind of a fun little episode because, I spilled coffee right off the bat, so it kind of changes the whole dynamic of the conversation. But we do have a really good one. Adria is definitely one very talented woman. Lots of stuff. I love her drive. I love that she's going for it on her own and making the most of everything. Very, very cool. Due to the fact that this week's kind of late, there's going to be no giveaways this week. Giveaways will resume next week. It's going to be Adria's book. I'm giving away one of hers, and more by your leave and more digital stuff. But alright, for now though, guys, let's head to our conversation. Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint brings your creations to life. They believe in indies helping indies, and they have been known to contribute to everything from game jams to NaNoWriMo and everything in between. As a creator, you just bring your work to them, whether you're a writer, musician, or video game designer, or whatever the case may be, and they'll help you format, proof, and distribute your project to a variety of different avenues. For more information, check them out at info@indieimprint.com. So the conversation is officially on, the recorder's on. So if you got anything incriminating you'd like to say, make it good.
I didn't do it.
Okay. What didn't you do? Nothing.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
For my sake, it's better stay that way. I got it. So how you doing today?
Very good, thanks.
All right. So you're talking about your master plan. I am looking at a copy of, ladies and gentlemen, Jump Ship Hope, which is coming out September what?
September 26th, we'll have a launch party at Owl's Nest.
Nice. So she's doing a big launch and stuff like that. But she's talking about her master plan to market this thing. So what's your master plan to market this thing?
Well, there's not just my books and my writing to market. I also need to market my services as an editor.
Yes.
And I'm also, of course, always selling the carvings that I create. So I decided to make a couple of YouTube channels and a website. Just like everybody else, I'm trying to get that online footprint.
Nice. So, this is a big question. So this is good. This is going to be, are you ready? Brace yourself.
Okay.
Who are you as a creator? How do you want people to perceive you as a creator online? What's your goal?
Schizophrenic, because I'm an editor, an author, and an artisan.
I don't think that's schizophrenic.
I think it's normal.
No.
You don't have to have all your eggs in one basket.
Well, it's the nature of the world today. Like when back in probably when you started in the workplace, everybody had just one job. They wanted everybody to be specialists, right? Right. We don't live in that world anymore.
No.
I am a sound engineer. I am a writer. I am an editor. I interview people. I am a marketer. I am a salesman. I'm human resources because I hire people, right?
Sounds like an entrepreneur.
That's right. That's what I am. That's what I am. That's exactly what I am. Well, it's the nature of the beast, right? I get to. I'm fortunate because it seems like at least the podcast part of this equation is doing it's successful, right? I've used the opportunities the podcast has given me to grow, and I'm very thankful for that. But so most people would know me as a podcaster before anything else, which is totally fine.
I'm probably known as an editor before everything else.
Yeah.
My main claim to fame is Urban Green Man. Janice Blade and I co-edited that launched in 2013. That was with Edge.
I saw that. It's a cool cover. It's an awesome little collection.
It's a great collection. Several of our authors were nominated for Aurora Awards for their stories, so we're really proud. Of course, the anthology was also nominated. So.
Yeah. So did you guys win?
No.
Aww.
On spec one, because they're amazing.
They are amazing. They generally are amazing, yes.
It's nice when the person who beat you out is also another place where you've been published.
Yeah, oh yeah. It doesn't feel that bad.
It's a win-win.
Yeah. Well, like I said, and for me it's a little different because this year I'm nominated again. In fact, I have an Aurora now.
Nice.
So it's like,
yeah, congratulations.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like it's a little different. Like if I'm actually kind of hoping someone else does win it because I don't. It's not. I have it and I'm grateful for it, but I'm also I've gotten like I have other goals at this point. Now don't get me wrong. If I won it again, I'd be very happy.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
But awards aren't everything, right? It's where they lead you.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And even that nomination has been incredibly helpful and was just a vote of confidence and, kind of a validation that I was on the right track because I stepped away from writing for a few years and really focused on my editing. I've spent a lot of time brushing up my skills.
And I am amazing. I am amazing. I am so sorry.
That's okay.
Oh my God. That was epic and failure.
Is it still recording?
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
We have spilled cinnamon dolce latte going on here. And a mop.
Oh yeah, I'll grab it for you.
Oh, here she comes.
Okay, cool.
Are you alright?
Just wet.
I'm alright. I lost control of my coffee.
Just wet.
Yes. Do you mind if I do a quick wipe down with my phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was, ladies and gentlemen, the epic spill of spills.
Oh.
It's okay. It'll be fine. It's fine. Thank you very much. I apologize. Because that was epically awesome.
Yeah, I don't even remember what we were talking about.
We were talking about how you just got into editing. My poor coffee.
Right. Yeah, I've been brushing up on my skills. I even thought about doing the Editors Canada test to get the letters after my name,
Yeah.
Now, that costs a lot of money, so I haven't gone there yet.
I've hit a very weird phase. Like a very weird phase in that this is gonna sound probably really asinine, like ass backwards a little bit, but I'm no longer like terrified of money. Right, I'm not worried about it.
That's a big step.
Well, no, it's a really interesting one because I just realized right, money is always going to be a tool. It's a tool, nothing more, nothing less. And you need this tool to today. But if you really sit there and think about what money actually is today, right? I saw a really cool definition to it the other day, and it actually makes total sense. Money is debt. I know this is right. Because money is debt. Money is not wealth, right? Wealth is like your goods, right? What you bring to the table, everything like that, right?
Right.
So if we're gonna look at it from the point of view of wealth, right? And we're gonna look at everything in terms of asset and liability. Let's just be accountants for a second because we have to be a little bit because we're businessmen and women. So, or whatever pronoun you go by, right? But the thing of it, so if you're looking at it from that perspective, then money is only good if it serves you. So if that's the case, what do I want? Well, we talked about this a little out there, doing an audiobook. I'm publishing my first novel independently that I'm actually really proud of. The advanced feedback I've gotten on it is actually hilarious, and I know the narrating company are really excited about it because it's such a different. The tone is so cool, right? I had a total blast with that. Well, maybe I'll show you this other piece of it at some point.
Yeah.
But so if I'm looking at money as a tool instead of as a end goal.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, it's looking at it as a tool than an end goal. And if money, by the definition of this world, and if you really sit there and think about it, it makes sense. It's debt. It no longer has a quantified value. You don't have a standard anymore to it. And if it's just being printed all the time, it's just tax. And what is tax but debt? It's an interesting perspective, isn't
It
it?
is. It's kind of neat to think about.
Yeah, right.
I have a sticky on my desk that says, money is a symbol of the value that you put into the world.
That's an interesting way. Like I look at
I
it.
like that way.
That's not bad. I look at what have you gotten from it? If right, like what good is $1 million? I mean, don't get me wrong. I would like $1 million.
I could use that tool readily.
Yeah. But it's what I do with it afterwards, right?
Yeah,
Right.
How you use the tool.
It's how you use the tool that really matters.
Yeah.
It's not that you have it.
Yeah.
And let's say, for example, that you're just chasing the money. There is again, we all have bills to pay, and we do have, again, it's a tool we need. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anyone that argues this. I'm not saying it's not a tool we need. What I am saying, however, is it's used as what's the tool for? To solve a problem. It's to help you accrue wealth or accrue other tools that you really care about.
Or buy time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I do a lot. I
Yeah.
buy time so that I have time to do my creative
Yeah,
outlets.
absolutely. That's what it is. If that's the case, then it's a problem-solving tool at best, and should not be seen as any more and any less. And I'm in a very unique position, as I don't have a house, I don't have a family to worry about right now, right this minute.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get
No problem. No, I am terribly sorry.
all good.
Yeah, I'm sure it does, but I still feel bad because I know it's what you paid to do, but still feel, yeah,
Accidents happen.
yes. Did you get your glasses?
Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah. That was an epic spill. Like we still have it, and it's gonna stay in the podcast.
Oh, no.
No, why not?
It's
It's
funny.
real. It's also real.
Yeah.
It's real, right? So, but what I was saying is, it's a total. Times are real money. Times are real money.
Yes, I
Times
agree.
are real.
That's the value right there.
That's the real value. If our real value is time, and what we do with it, then I shouldn't be going for money at all. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, again, I don't need money. I do.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, right. But it shouldn't be the goal.
Right.
The goal should be, how can I get in the position to do the things I want to do?
Yeah, and that's what I'm working on.
Right.
The other thing that I noticed that helped me as a tool to get to where I wanted to be was giving away what you want.
Yeah.
Which, another way of saying that is helping others.
Absolutely.
So becoming an editor became a tool for me to give others what it was I was looking for, which was publication of short stories and novels. Becoming an editor, I'm helping other people reach that goal, and now all of a sudden, we're reaching that goal.
That's true.
So I've found that the taking the course of choosing to really focus on my editing for a few years has paid off very well for me, in the sense that I'm self-employed, I run my own schedule, and if I wake up with a wicked great idea for my novel, I can spend the morning working on it instead of sitting in a cubicle in an office somewhere. And if that means that I have to edit until 10 o'clock at night, I can, because I'm running the show.
Absolutely.
So I love it.
No, and like for me last night, I was working on my podcast by necessity till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I still have a day job, right? Which I affectionately call the Sparkle Muffin. And then, isn't that cute?
I've seen that.
Yes. Yeah, well, I find it's really hard to take a job seriously if that's its name. Yeah, right. That's a very good. It's a
Don't
really.
let it get you down.
It's not even that. It's just nothing bothers. I had a really cool revelation when I was working there last Christmas. If I can look at the problem in front of me and I can say sparkle, sparkle to it, it's really hard to take it seriously.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I mean, it's not the end of the world. And suddenly, right, your stress is gone. And it sounds an incredibly strange, little interesting thing to look at that. But it's just like,
Like a vent.
yeah, it's just like, whoop, it's out, and you see it for what it is, you recognize it for what it is, and you move on. And now it's like you've coped with it, you've accepted it, and now it's the task at hand, right? And again, it's about coming to terms with what you can't control, coming to terms with, right, what you can do, and what you can accept what you're supposed to do there, right? So because of that, right. I've learned an awful lot about managing stress. A lot of things stress me out. So I worry about what I want to do,
Yeah.
and I don't really care about anything else, right? And that's
I'm getting there too. Yeah. Just trying to stay focused and right?
Oh, yeah.
And try not to let the little things bog you down and just plow your way.
Well, yeah. You try to avoid distraction.
Yeah. Boy, that's tough.
Sometimes. Sometimes you have to deal with it and it pisses you off. It's like, no, I just don't want to do that.
Right? Yeah. Some of the harder parts of being self-employed and being your own boss.
Yeah.
Some serious discipline involved.
Yes. Sometimes you fail miserably too. I mean, that's part of the.
It was funny. When I've got work, I always meet my deadlines. I have repeat clients. People are happy with my work. Where I fall down when it comes to discipline is getting out there and hustling for more work while I'm busy with work.
It's really.
And that's how I end up with that roller coaster ride all the time.
It's really like. That's where a publicist in theory is valuable, or an agent's valuable in theory, right? They can drum up that business for you, or even an assistant.
Yeah.
Right. That's because that's.
If we could all have assistants, that would be great.
I'm about 2 years away. I think there's going to come a point. I think in about 2-3 years.
Nice.
I'm going to need one, whether I can afford it or not. I'm going to have to figure out a way to do it because the reality of the situation is I'm getting I worked less on my day job this year. I've become busier.
Nice.
I've become busier. It's not. Like I'm getting to that point where the day job is actually going to go into the past for a bit because I've hit that point of where I want to put again. Where does my time want to go?
Yeah. Where am I putting my energy? What's the next step? What's my priority?
Yep.
And we were talking about the different hats you wear when you're an entrepreneur. And some days it's really hard to know what the next step is, or actually, I should say what priority is, because a million different things will look like their priority. And if you stop and really think it through, it's not necessarily what you think it is at first, right?
No, sometimes it's as simple as, do I need to check my email today?
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe I need to keep my head clear and just get in the story and not answer email for a day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like.
Hence why I love going off the grid.
Oh, everybody! I wish I could. I
bought that camper, and I just pack all my work up, and I head out, and then it's just so many less distractions of,
I'm about 5 years away from that.
Oh.
Right.
It took me 30 years to get the camper, so hang in there.
No, I'm about 5 years because I'm looking at where I want to take the show long term. I'd love to be on the road for do that for a few years. That's because I think it'd be really cool to go across Canada, the United States, and maybe even the world. Hey, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? And just meet. Well, I love people's stories.
That'll add such an element to the podcast. Like it'll just take what you'll have already grown. It will just accent it and grow it even more.
Absolutely. I mean, my life will be so different than everybody else's, but my life's already so different than everybody else's.
Already, yeah.
But I think we should go backwards before we go forward. Why did you get into, I assume writing first, then editing. So how did that happen?
I've always been a reader. It's my first love. I demanded to be taught how to read before I went to kindergarten because I was tired of waiting for someone to read to me. So I've always loved books, always loved reading. Worked on the school newspaper in high school, went to journalism school at SAIT, got honors. Worked the newspaper there in my second year, so it's always been my life. Communications and publishing, books in particular, and lots of photography. I'm very visual. I think maybe that's where the carving came from. I like working with my hands, but I tell you, books is the first love always.
So, 2 questions. Did you ever consider doing a comic? Because it's almost like, because honestly, you sound like you already have most of the tools. You like visual, you like written, they kind of go together well.
I've tried drawing. If I was to be any good at it at all, I'd have to drop everything else and put some time in.
But why not use your photography?
Sorry?
Why not use your photography?
Oh.
Why not? Why not?
Oh, I like that.
Why not?
Okay, I'll take your challenge and run with it.
Yeah. I mean, you already have that tool. Why argue with that tool?
Right.
Right? Why not? Why learn something?
Yeah.
Why learn something when you
You
can
already
come
have.
to another skill that's not quite the same,
Yeah.
but maybe that's to your benefit.
So have you seen
Yeah, oh yeah.
graphic novels done with photography?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
How did I miss that? That sounds cool.
But also just look at what magazines are. Look at what.
Sure. I've worked for lots of magazines,
You
yeah.
work in magazines. Look at the newspapers, what they actually are.
Yeah.
We live in a world today where all the mediums are really close together. All of them. Doesn't matter what they are.
Yeah.
So, right? Why not try to do something that's uniquely you?
Yeah, I love it.
Right?
Yep.
And use the skills you already have. Do something very different. Right? It may not. I don't know what it will amount to. But again.
You fired the creative juices, that's for sure.
Yeah. Just that's my first question. It's like you already have these tools.
Yeah.
Why not use them together?
Oh, it's definitely been a fun journey. I mean, I'm 50 now, and I've always spent my whole life in communications and journalism and that sort of publishing. But seeing things now coming together and seeing how I can take all of my skills and put them into one thing like that, it's nice to see these things coming together after all this time.
Yeah.
It's exciting and encouraging.
Well, yeah, no, it's. I find art's like a journey of figuring out who you are.
Yes.
That's what.
Sure.
That's
and
totally.
healing.
Oh, there's definitely an aspect of that to it as well.
Yeah.
I think for everybody it's a little different. It's easy to write. I think this is steps. We find out what we find, what makes us passionate. It doesn't necessarily have to be angry, but it usually comes from that place initially. Then we figure out how to have fun, right? Which is reverse. Because I remember I might actually do this at the Dr. Seuss. I might take some marbles and like these little like mini boxes. So my first kindergarten class, my very first kindergarten, I remember this even to this day. We took a marble and we dipped it in paint and we bounced it around the box. So each painting was very unique, but the goal was it's okay to make a mess and it can still look beautiful, right? It's something a lot of creatives forget as they get older. They say, I'm good at this and I know what I'm doing. Oh shit, no, I don't know what I'm doing, right? But you learn to have fun, that's step 2. And the hardest thing is writing joy. Joy is the hardest thing to write. I don't care what anyone says. Because it can sound very hokey.
Yeah.
It can sound very corny. Right. There is that.
And where do you find the terminology that isn't cliche and used 1,000 times before, right?
But when it's there,
it's brilliant.
It's brilliant, and it's the best stuff you'll ever read. Those are the moments in life, right? Those are the moments in life
we all treasure.
Absolutely. They're the best. So I think writing is phases. There's your angry phase.
Yeah.
Then there's your fun phase.
Nice.
Then there's your joy phase. And when you're really good, you can go back and forth between all of them. Right?
And then merge them all together.
Absolutely, because that's life.
Yeah.
Right? That if art reflects life, there are points when we're angry, there are points when we're depressed, there are points when we have obstacles to overcome.
And then the joy.
And then there's the joy. And in the middle, there's the fun. Sometimes good fun, bad fun, but that's
right.
Nice. All right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'm definitely going to chase that. So, yeah, that's how I got started, was just a pure, unadulterated love for books that has never grown old.
What was your favorite book growing up?
Lord of the Rings.
Nice.
I read it for the first time when I was 8.
Oh, wow.
Which, when I had an 8-year-old of my own, I looked at that kid and I thought about me reading this book and I thought, wow, I was a weird kid. But I read voraciously all through my childhood. Like, I plowed through all of the kids' books in my school library and at the library, and then I just headed right into the classic sci-fi and all the spin-offs off the Lord of the Rings that came along after that. I just read everything.
So for me, it was Bradbury, Burroughs, Asimov.
Oh yeah, Asimov, Heinlein. Yeah.
Heinlein was interesting because I started at the end of his books, not the first one. So for those of you who don't know, Robert Heinlein is like two Heinleins. There is sci-fi old school Heinlein,
Right.
which goes to about Moon is a harsh mistress or Stranger in a Strange Land, depending on your point of view.
That's me. Yeah.
Right. Then you go to you go beyond that. It's almost the hippie. I call it hippie love Heinlein.
Oh, I don't think I've read much of that.
Okay, so
Maybe I should.
Oh, jeez. I learned what a Texas Star was at 15. I don't think if you don't. Do you know what that is?
So.
Yeah.
And then I got into Anne McCaffrey as a tween, and I think I still own every single book she ever published, as well as her sons.
So for me, I like Le Guin more than I liked her.
Yeah.
That's just
You like The Witch?
Ursula Le Guin.
Oh, I love Ursula too.
Yeah. I found so for me, I read Ursula first, then I read her, and then I read McCaffrey, and I found that because I read Ursula first, there was a little bit more. I found Ursula a little more sophisticated. Yeah. And that's just my taste, right?
I was lucky because I read McCaffrey while I was still a kid and just plowed through them, loved all the social interaction, and then I read Le Guin and felt like I was growing up or something.
Yeah. Oh, so I read Le Guin first.
Yeah.
Then I read.
I did the opposite.
Yeah. Whereas that's why Lord of the Rings is not my. Although I respect Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time is mine. That was the one I read as a young teenager, and I got stuck. Got to book 6, and I had to wait for book 7. I learned how to wait for books. That's a teary-eyed moment. It's like,
right?
When's the next book coming out?
Well, you can't imagine me when the Lord of the Rings movie came out, and it starts out, and here's the Shire, and here's Gandalf, and here's Frodo and Bilbo and Sam, and they're all bloody brilliantly perfect.
Absolutely.
And I'm just crying in the movie theater.
Aww.
Because that for me, that was the first big. Like, sure, I read all the bed knobs and broomsticks and the What's the Merry England one. Yeah, you know that book. All the kids one. I had been through all them all, but when I started reading Lord of the Rings at that age, it just lit me up. It just told me this is my world. This is where I want to live.
I think the one that would make me maybe tear up a little bit if they ever come to the theater, they could actually do it well, would be Foundation.
Ooh.
If they could do that well.
That would be great.
You're right. Yeah, if they could do that one well.
iRobot was okay.
Meh.
They tried.
Well, no. Well, it's fine. It's fine for what it is. But when you look at iRobot, it was a bad title for that because iRobot's a short story collection.
Yeah.
It wasn't Robbie, right? But it was one of the other stories in there. I can't remember which one it was. That the premise was based on. It was based off a story in iRobot, but then it became an action flick.
But then, like you say, Foundation's edge. I mean, if they could do it justice on the screen, I'd take my money.
No, it would be good. I would love it. I think they'd have to do. They'd have to do the first Foundation where the Empire. The prelude to Foundation would be the first movie.
Yeah, I would have to.
Yeah.
Just to help everyone understand.
Yeah. That would be the first one, and then from there you go into the future, because the mule is such an interesting, to get that right, that should be like a horror movie. Yeah. It should be a horror movie because that would make like a very very human it. That's how I describe the mule. Right? Yeah.
Have you read The Real Story and the others that follow it? It's the Gap series by Stephen R. Donaldson.
Yes, I have.
That one, the plotting towards the end of that, it's just astounding.
Yes. No, so Donaldson's a weird one for me.
Oh, he is. He digs into things that most people wouldn't touch.
I love the irony of Thomas Covenant. The irony of it, I really dig. I love it. A man trying to save a land he doesn't believe in is actually that is such a strong concept.
Yeah.
Right.
I read those when I was in junior high too.
Yeah.
They were. I was like you with the Wheel of Time. I was waiting for books, and I bought 4 and 5 in the UK when I was there for the summer. They even have different covers than you can get here.
Yeah, absolutely. A Mirror in Her Dreams and Man Rides Through.
Oh, those are different.
But they're more straightforward. They're more
I think
straightforward.
he was trying to appeal more to a mass market at that point.
Yeah.
He'd gone into so much trouble for the first Thomas Covenant.
It's got some pretty adult stuff for like a fantasy. Like that was way like Game of Thrones got nothing on that series, nothing. But it was way ahead of its time in that regard. Like if Covenant had written it now, it would be actually probably if Covenant had come out now, it would be a bigger hit now.
I believe that.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Because I look at what Jack Lawrence is doing, and I look at what a few other people are doing today, and I'm like, it's been done. Like you're good, but this has been done.
Yeah.
Right. This concept, the at least the tone has been done very well, and Donaldson did it years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Like almost 40 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
I just dated myself.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm nearly 40 myself, so it's all good, right?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I love Zelazny, but I mean.
No.
Yeah. I think of all the science fiction worlds, his is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's fun. Come on, you playing tarot cards that can transport to the other world is a freaking cool idea.
That is a cool idea.
Yeah.
Teleportation of any kind is something I've regularly dreamed about.
We've actually started teleporting a few years ago. Yeah.
And it's not so much with biological matter, but yeah.
We're a few molecules in, but I mean the fact that we can actually do it is
Star Trek, here we come.
Well, we're interviewing you I'm interviewing you on essentially a tricorder.
Yep, you betcha.
Yeah. So I mean we're the 24th century came a little early.
Wow. Neat.
Yeah. Science fiction, science fact, and also still. Let's think about this. Then you got into editing somehow, some way.
I did, and I really enjoy it. I mean, I'm getting paid to read.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is, I have so much gratitude for that. It just, I feel like, I'm getting away with something.
Except you're not. So you're putting your time in.
Yeah. Oh, and it does. It takes a lot of time. If you're going to do any book, it's justice, and really help that author, you've got to put serious focus and time in. It's not just reading a book, of course. It takes dozens and dozens of hours.
Yeah, I learned that unfortunately the hard way with my first editor. I didn't realize the work they were doing.
Right.
Because you go just edit my book, and obviously you think it's proof. No, it's not that. There's all kinds.
There are many different levels of editing.
Absolutely.
So when I'm first working with an author, we're looking at big picture stuff, conceptual stuff. We're looking at the plot. We're looking at character arcs. We're looking at foreshadowing with subtext, and we're looking at all the big stuff. And of course we line by line improve as we go. But then after the first few passes, when you know you've got your big stuff taken care of, then you start digging at all the little stuff to serve that end goal of the big picture. So yeah, several passes, and you kind of work your way down from the big picture into the nitty gritty, line by line, word by word. But always with that goal to make it serve the big picture.
I figured out about 4 months ago what an editor actually is looking for, because good writing is much like good design.
Right.
You don't notice it if it's good.
Right.
Yes. Don't notice it if it's good. If it's
slide right through the rain.
Yeah, exactly. If it's bad, it jars you out of the experience.
Mm-hmm. And that's the last thing you want to have your readers experience.
No way. Sometimes you want to jar your reader.
Only, if it's on purpose. You certainly don't want to pull them away from the story just because. No.
But there is a difference. Sometimes it's like, wait, you are trying to make the reader uncomfortable here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the first question. It's like, okay, so is this on purpose? No, I don't think so.
Right.
Let's write this down. And like I said, I just went through my novel, and actually I ended up going her way because I think it just was better the way she did it. It was like my unicorn that farts rainbows was originally, his dialogue was completely in Wingdings.
In which?
Wingdings.
Oh, that would be difficult to read.
No, actually, it's not.
No, you like it?
Well, no. When you see smiley faces and peace signs, people know what those mean. There are some universal we
I
sometimes.
wondered when people would start writing with emojicons, because seriously, we all know what they mean now.
Yeah,
Shorthand.
the problem with them, like pure emojicon is it moves, and when you're reading it on a computer screen, right?
Oh.
That's like because
Change,
right? It would change. So if you go to print it, doesn't look right.
Right.
Right. So it print in a print form, and this I've been thinking about this. So
Yeah, I bet.
yeah, right. So I was trying to figure out. Okay, so because if I do get to book 3.
Yep.
The unicorn meets one of its descendants who actually does talk in emojis.
Huh, cool.
Yeah, just evolution, just communication's more accurate.
Streamlined and
Well, no, it's not. It's not. It's more nuanced. Like the nuances are better.
yeah,
Right.
and the emotional content.
It's deeper.
Yeah, I think.
You're right.
Yeah.
So you would assume the descendant would get better. Although I'm also looking forward to that because it's also my equivalent of doing the dumb robot, like the really dumb robot.
Sure.
Like I mean, makes real because intelligence is so varied. Right, that I thought that if a robot would be able to go on both extremes, it could be incredibly intelligent,
Yeah.
but also be incredibly dumb.
Right.
Right? Because here's the thing, right? A robot doesn't need to breathe.
Yes.
So if a robot doesn't need to breathe, I keep thinking of the robot in Invader Zim. Right? So broken, like kind of it's not all there, and it's just like. So I want to do that, my own variation of that in the third book. But the other, you're right, show the range of intelligence, what constitutes intelligence, and what it can be in any. And intelligence and stupidity can take place in any shape, any form you want it to.
That's true.
Right. Right. So book 3. Book 2 is a very unique challenge, but book 3 is another unique challenge. But that one is I'm gonna be able to have more fun with book 3, I think. So. But what I was getting at is, what was I getting at? Oh, what I was getting at was the fact that, people get images. Like people actually really do get images. But what my editor came up with to describe the wingdings also works for the emojis. So I was like, this is actually better. She's right.
Neat.
Damn it.
I kind of get where you're going with that, and I always reassure my authors. I always remind them and reassure them that every change I suggest or make is theirs to accept or delete. It's always their story, and I'm not there to rewrite it for them. I'm only there to help them make it bigger, better, stronger, and
amplify the strengths, hide the weaknesses. Yeah.
And like I say, it's about finding out what they're trying to say or accomplish with their story, and then working to help every word meet that goal, right?
Which is what a good editor is supposed to do. But like I said, I figured out good writing, you don't notice it.
Exactly.
Right? Good design, you don't notice it.
Masters always make it look easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't notice it. And it's like that. Aha.
Love it.
Yeah, so I figured that out. It's like, okay. Yes, you're like checking the time. So, finally, I think we go to this carving.
Yeah.
So when did you start and what do you make?
Oh boy, I started 5, maybe 6 years ago. I took a class at Lee Valley where they supply you a nice piece of cottonwood bark, which yes, this is the poplar tree, and you got to carve an old man's face with beard and a mustache in this piece of bark. Well, I was hooked. I just love working with the wood. I love the way it smells. I love the way it feels as the knife is passing through and that curl of wood comes up. I just find that it feeds my soul and it gives my hand something to do when my brain needs a rest from all the words, and it's just taken off. My first YouTube channel is Carving the Cottonwood, and I'm trying to pay it forward or pay back to all of the carvers that I watched on YouTube while I was trying to learn. And I'd pull up videos and I'd watch for a few minutes and I'd pause it and then I'd try to copy them and I'd watch for a few more. And so now I'm hoping that by making this YouTube channel, 2 things. well, three things. By making the YouTube channel about it, I'm helping and inspiring other people to try, I hope. And I'm like sharing how easy it is to just play and try it. But I'm also hoping to bring awareness to my own work in all forms and drive traffic to my website. So it's just become this thing where they actually do work together better than I ever dreamed.
Well, yeah, actually, that's the thing. The more mediums you actually play with, the more you realize that it actually helps. It feeds all your other ones.
It does. And even if it's just a break from the screen and the words for a little while, it's just nice. Of course, I love camping, and I love sitting around the campfire and whittling too. I'm not very good at sitting still, and
that makes you this is your zen. The wood carving is your zen.
Yeah. And the only two things where I can completely lose myself and my mind slips away and time slips away, the only two things that do that for me are reading and carving. So I think I'm on a good track for myself.
Definitely found the inner piece of you. Right?
I love it. It's good.
But now you're back into writing.
Yes, I've signed a 2-book deal with Taiki to finish the trilogy that starts with Jumpship Hope. So, no pressure. I've never had a deadline quite like this one before.
You're fine.
Margaret says to me, I have faith in you, Adria. No pressure. It's exciting. I'm getting back into it. I feel it's that whole, like riding a bike. Yeah, it's just all come back to me. And of course, I never really totally set it aside because I still had short stories I was working. I still had stories published during that time.
Writers always write.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, we always
can't help ourselves.
Yeah.
We'll run as far as fast as you like.
Well, like right now, like I keep talking about book 3 of Cloud Diver and book 4, and it hasn't come out yet. But one of the other, again, something I worked on not too long ago, it's going into it, right? I came up with this idea of a pirate. He's drunk, gets swallowed by a whale, and they form a pack of great pirate ships with champagne. It's a weird little story, but it's why not?
Yeah.
But I figured out how to tie it into book 3 in a really, really fun way.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
that kind of puzzle work I just love. In fact, even with the editing, sometimes I'll be working on a novel for someone, and I've set it aside, and I'm out in the world, and I'm doing groceries, or I'm sitting having coffee with friends, and my brain's still working because things will suddenly come to me. Oh, that's why that passage doesn't work. And I'll have to quickly jot it all down so I can explain it later to the client. It's that kind of deep thought. I mean, I'm not sure that the readers of the world that haven't attempted writing, I'm not sure they understand how difficult it is sometimes to put that puzzle together in a masterful way that makes it look easy.
Yeah,
it's really difficult sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's a great challenge.
I still don't know what I'm doing.
I don't think any of us do.
No.
We're just all winging it.
Yeah, kind of just winging a prayer, and sometimes we hit a home run. Sometimes it's an epic failure.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that either way.
Yeah.
I am comfortable in my messes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Brene Brown says you will end up face down in the arena. You will get your ass kicked.
Absolutely.
And if you were, well, how she put it, if you were daring greatly, you will get your ass kicked. Guaranteed. Not if, you will.
It's who you are once you get your ass kicked that determines whether or not you get. For me, that was Arizona. Right? Arizona, I got my ass kicked. I needed the ass kicking.
There you go.
I needed it. It built my character to who I am today. And I'm sure down the road I'm going to get my ass kicked again.
There you go.
The difference is I've already had my ass kicked once. So it's you're not as scared of it the second time. You don't necessarily want to go through it again, no. but at the same token, it's not. It doesn't terrify you the same way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't hold you back the way that kind of fear doesn't hold me back the way it used to.
The fear I find most of us still have to overcome is not the fear of failure. oddly the fear of success.
Oh, I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
You want to get into armchair philosophy and a little bit of psych. Yeah, I've noticed stuff like that.
Well, Laura Williams says it's not our deepest fear is not that we are weak. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful. It's not our darkness, but our light that truly scares us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She's right.
Yeah.
Because the moment you embrace the possibility that you can succeed, you create expectations, not by everybody else. That can get to some people, but it's more about yourself because you now know what you're capable of.
Right.
Right?
No excuses anymore.
Well, that's it. Well, the thing is, there never was an excuse.
Right.
That's the thing a lot of people don't
Oh,
realize.
but we're so good at making them up.
Yeah, but I destroy them now.
Nice.
Well, it's my sixth rule. No excuses.
Right.
I learned that people do exactly what they want to do at all places at all times.
Yes.
Right?
Isn't that the truth?
Well, no, it's the absolute truth.
Yeah.
Right? People don't necessarily like to hear that because now what I'm saying is you have no excuse. It's basically what I'm telling you.
You're calling them out on creating all of these excuses.
Well, that's it. That's what you're doing, right? And by the way, I've said this. There is no desire is necessarily wrong. There's no such thing as a wrong desire.
Okay.
Right? But the wrongness is not being honest with what you actually really want and why you're doing it.
Right.
For example, I am going to move to BC. I want to grow as a person. Now I could let that fear of that growth keep me in Calgary. Right? So now if I do that, what do I actually want? Do I want to go to BC or do I want to be comfortable? And that's an honest question, right? Mm-hmm. There's no shame in wanting to be comfortable. None.
Yeah.
Right? There's no shame in that.
It's another choice.
It's another choice. That's totally what it is. No more, no less. Be honest in your choices. If you can do that, right, you will be happier.
Yeah.
Right? Because you won't be looking for excuses anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes when we get that fear going, whether we're calling it rejection or success or whatever that fear, sometimes we will engineer smallness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to stay safe from having to deal with that possible success, which can then put you in line for...
Well, when I won the Aurora last year, I actually asked my question, how did I get here? Because it's a legitimately good question to ask in those moments, right? Oh my God, I won. Now what? Right? Because you don't expect something like that, right?
Yeah.
So how did I get here? What can I do to stay here?
Right.
And what can I possibly do to get in my own way?
Nice.
Right? And I've learned that success, whatever endeavor you choose to go in, has almost nothing. You can't control the level of success you're going to get. Like you can market, you can build, you can do everything you can within your power.
Yeah.
But you can't determine that. You would love 200 clients. Maybe you wouldn't love 200 clients. Maybe, but
spread over time, maybe.
maybe yes. But you would love that kind of. You would love the ability to turn things down if you wanted to.
Sure.
We're absolutely right. But you might only have 10 clients. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, right? That's still success,
yeah.
Right? But it's degrees. You can't control the degree of your success.
Right.
But you can control what you do with it once you have it, and everything that got you to that. Let's say those. I'm sure it's more than 10, but let's say, like, for the sake of this discussion, 10 clients, right? You get these 10 regular clients that always get you there. You're doing something right to keep those 10 clients, and they're probably referring other friends, right? And as a result, maybe that 10 is going to become 30, right. Which is probably your sweet spot, right? Probably your sweet spot. So you get to that 30, right? Do you want to get bigger? I mean, at that point, it doesn't matter. There's that point you control. Do I want to stay where I am? Do I want to get bigger? Right. Those are big questions you have to ask.
Right.
And then that's when. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you can choose. You have the option to go as big or as small as you want instead of getting in your own way and costing yourself. Because if you choose, this is who I want to be, you can live with that.
Right.
But if you go, oh man, what could I have done?
Right.
That would drive you nuts.
Right. Yeah, it would.
Yeah. That. Do you have a kid here that's showing off here?
watching kids with their cake pops.
That's right.
I'm just only mildly jealous.
A little bit, yeah. They get cooler toys than we ever did. Now we're seeing a paper fight.
Yeah, sibling rivalry.
Sibling paper fight. Yep.
Cute.
Yes. I'm always leery of the younger siblings. I have a younger sibling, yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
You must have been ganged up, Dawn.
I have 4 little brothers, so I know all about having siblings.
That is both the best and worst thing possible. It's the worst thing possible because they form alliances and they go after you. Best thing possible is anybody from the outside stepped in, they would be the first ones there.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, it's how it works. It's like you have an army to back you up,
Nice.
but if it's just them and you, they're kind of gang up on you.
Yeah.
That's what siblings do. It's okay. Are you the oldest?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't. So yes. Here's to the oldest.
Yeah, I'm the boss.
You're the boss.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably. I actually don't doubt that.
Built-in babysitter. Yeah. It was great. Now we're all grown up. Have kids of our own.
Yeah, but you're probably just a babysitter.
No, not much.
No.
No. They must not trust me with their kids.
No. I was talking about you. I was still talking with your siblings, not with their kids. See, with their kids, they have to be the adult.
Oh, right.
Right. But with you.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
They're all
good.
Yeah, they're all really good.
That's good. That's good. It seems like you get along with all of them, which is that's great. That's really good. So you got 2 more books left to go on this.
Yes.
So what are your goals for the next little bit?
Just the same as always. My favorite thing to tell myself is Plan B is to stick to Plan A. I feel like I'm at that point, like the board, failure's not an option. So I write, I edit, and I carve, and I do my best to make ends meet at the end of the month, and that's about it. I just keep plugging away.
And you just keep doing your thing?
Yeah. Of course, we've got the Hidden Art Show coming up at Wentworth's Clyde.
Okay.
We're not as hidden as people think. We're right above the merchant corner.
No. Oh, okay. So it's better located this year. It's
No, it's the same place. It's just the name gave us a great name, but it kind of gives people the impression that we're hard to find and we're not.
You know what you guys should do? Arrows on the ground.
Yes, I worked on that on the walls and it didn't quite work, so we're going to do stuff on the floor.
No, do it on the floor. It works.
Yeah, it works.
No, totally. No. I know from my very first signing.
Yeah.
I did everything wrong.
Oh.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
But you learn, right?
Yeah. Let me tell you what I learned. Right. So this store was also in a very hard to find location. So I printed out arrows and I taped them to the street.
Nice.
People followed them just to see.
Just like curiosity.
Yeah.
I love it.
I never doubt the power of interactivity. It always works.
Love it.
Yeah.
So we've got the Hidden Art Show for its 2nd year, and I'll have some carvings there. And we've got more than half of our artists this year are new. So I think we have 2 or 3 book cover artists this year. So that's really exciting. That was something I was not expecting to be given the opportunity to do. And then when it was handed to me, I was surprised that I'd even asked for it and said yes, because normally I just like to be off on my own doing my own thing. Writing, carving, editing, they're all very solitary endeavors. But I took this on and we had such a great time last year. And again, I'm helping artists get their work in front of people and hopefully make a little money. So again, I find that giving what it is that I'm hoping to get for myself, giving it and helping other people get it has helped me, and I kind of love that happy circle, that happy process.
It's really rewarding.
It is.
It really
feels great to help other people. It's
absolutely.
Wonderful.
It's very it's part of what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think, Miss Adria, we have an interview. What do you think?
I think we do.
So how about we do this? We plug the art show, plug your book again.
Yep.
Is there anything else coming out right now besides that right now?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so plug your book, plug where people can find you, and you have an interview.
Wonderful. Thanks, John.
Yeah. Plug your book.
Oh, right now.
Yeah.
I love it.
And how people can find you. Yes.
Jump Ship Hope is launching September 26th. Books are available to order online at Taiki Books and at Amazon.com, and probably anywhere else you can buy books. The Hidden Art Show is happening at When Words Collide, August 9th, 10th, and 11th this year at the Delta Hotel on the Cloud in Southland. There are many events that are open to the public. You don't have to be a member of the convention to come and see us. And one of those things is the art show. We're there all weekend, and our doors are open to the public as well as convention attendees.
And how can people find you?
Oh, how can they find me? I'm at adrialaycraft.com, and I'm also on Facebook, Adria Laycraft. And I'm running 2 YouTube channels just for the fun of it. One of them is called Carving the Cottonwood, and the other one is called Girl Gone Vagabond.
Okay. And that was my conversation with Adria Laycraft. Jump Ship Hope is out now. Next week I'll be giving away a copy of it along with some other cool things. So definitely check out the mailing list next week. This week, though, like I said, because of how late I've been with everything, I'm just going to keep it really simple this week just so I can make sure the episodes get back on track. But before I wrap up here, I just want to briefly touch on my When Words Collide experience. Bittersweet. This is my last When Words Collide as a Calgarian. I know this. I will still be coming back to these, and I'll still be seeing people, and I'll still be having a good time, but next year it's going to be different. I'm going to be a visitor, and we'll see where everything leads at this point in my life. And my goal was to make an impact, whether it was I did my podcast presentation, whether it was my 300th episode, which was recorded there. I'm really proud of that in particular. But finally, the Dr. Seuss, or whether it was the Dr. Seuss stuff, or whether it was the interviews I had a blast with everybody I chatted to. And my goal was basically every person I met that played a role in getting me to where I am now, I wanted to make sure they were thanked. And that was my goal. That was my big goal for the whole weekend. So I think I accomplished it. I did miss some of you. I try to get out as many of you as I can, but I did want to say this here to anyone I did miss. I still got a few of you I'm going to see personally, but for those I did miss, if you play a role in getting me where I am, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. I appreciate it. Alright, that'll do it for this episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so in a number of different ways. You can subscribe to the podcast. I am on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. I'm on Podomatic for now. Support my sponsors. Indie Imprint has been amazing to me. They've treated me really good. I have a lot of cool stuff to give away because of them, but also they are the ultimate place if you're an independent creator that wants to create a platform, whether it's a video game, a musician, a writer. They do it all, and they are a great company. You should definitely check them out. My books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, Wandering God, for CurseMiracle.Publishing.com. Definitely should check those out. My YouTube channel is Joshua Pentellaresco. My Twitter, Instagram is @jpentellaresco. Thanks for listening. Stay inspired, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Josh.